Hi, welcome to my channel. I will tell you story. The title is Counting Cards. Ben Campbell's lifelong ambition has been to attend Harvard Medical School. Ben Campbell will need to save $300,000 for the course in order to be accepted into Harvard School of Medicine. The only problem is that Ben does not have this amount of money. English actor Jim Sturgis plays MIT student Ben Campbell, who gets accepted into Harvard Medical School but cannot afford the $300,000 tuition. He is interviewed as a possible candidate for the coveted Robinson Scholarship, which will cover all of his educational expenses. Campbell is told that despite having a 1590 Saturday score, 44 MCAT score, and a 4.0 GPA at MIT, competition for the scholarship is stiff. Ben and his best friend are in a nonlinear equations class where Professor Micky Rosa is asking the class a difficult question. Professor Rosa is impressed with Ben's response. He finds himself interested in Ben. Ben is studying in an empty library one night shortly after. Fisher arrives and instructs Ben to follow him. They enter a classroom and meet the rest of the staff, including the lovely Jill and Professor Mickey. They tell Ben that they study counting cards and go to Vegas as a group every weekend to bet and make money. They explain that what they do is legitimate and that they want Ben to join because of his aptitude with statistics. He declines, stating that he has a job and cannot join them. Jill stops by Ben's employment, a suit store, to invite him back, but he declines. Next, we watch the secret card-counting crew rehearsing by answering Mickey's questions incorrectly. Ben emerges in the doorway and correctly answers. He joins the group. He learns the signs, symbols, counting procedure, and everything else they do. They inform Ben that he must attend a practice run. Campbell, with the stipulation that he will only stay on the team long enough to pay for his tuition. Campbell is given a final live exam at an underground casino after weeks of intensive training. Ben enters an underground gambling ring, and he appears nervous. As soon as he is alerted, he goes to a hot table and begins playing. He's winning money when a bag is placed over his head and he's carried out of the room by goons. Fearing for his life, he freaks out when it is discovered that he is being tested by the team. He passes, and they tell him he'll be leaving the next day for Las Vegas with them. Campbell discovers the joys of a new way of life. Ben becomes a big player and makes a lot of money by going to Vegas every weekend. The team distributes the weekend earnings, and after a while, they don't say how long, but it's probably a few months, Ben has saved more than $160,000. Throughout, security head Cole Williams has been keeping an eye on the blackjack team, particularly Campbell. Meanwhile, Campbell develops feelings for Jill. Ben has been ignoring his best buddies at MIT. They confront him and have an argument. An intoxicated Fisher arrives at Ben's table one evening and begins chatting about the retard in Rain Man who won by counting cards. He then starts a brawl by spilling a drink on another player at the table. Mr. Rosa dismisses Fisher and sends him home. Casino security begins to recognize Ben and the team. The head security guard is furious and determined to catch him. Returning at MIT, Campbell botches his part of a university project with his friends for the 2.0.9 competition. His friends angrily tell him that they will complete the project themselves, leaving Campbell with the impression that the project is no longer important. When Ben returns to Vegas, he is clearly upset, and instead of counting cards one night, he gambles straight. Mickey is enraged because he has lost $200,000 to him. Mickey yells at the group, telling them they will be charged and that they must find their own way back to Boston. The squad decides to stay and earn the money without Mickey after Ben persuades them. Ben has now saved almost $315,000, but his priorities have shifted and he is growing greedy. Campbell and his three remaining teammates resolve to go into business for themselves with the balance of their money. Mickey, who was supposed to have returned to Boston, instead stays and informs casino security Cole Williams, who discovers and apprehends Campbell and takes him to a remote basement, where he beats him. Coleman threatens Campbell and issues a terrible warning. Ben is shown leaving the casino the next day, beaten, black-eyed, and bloodied. As Campbell returns Boston into MIT, he finds a letter informing him that he received an incomplete for one of his classes and thus will not graduate. Ben's room was broken into and trashed, and all of his winnings have been stolen from his dorm room. Learns that Pro Mickey failed him in his course, preventing him from graduating and hence from attending Harvard Medical School. Ben makes a scene in his nonlinear equations class by asking bluntly about a physicist who stole his students' ideas and destroyed their lives. Professor Micky tells Ben and the class that because there was no proof, no one would ever know what happened in their situation. Ben walks to Jill's residence. He informs her that he has lost everything and that he requires her assistance. She asks him as to when he will stop. Returning at MIT, Ben makes a scene in 2.09 achievement competition, witnessing his friends won the competition. Ben feels Professor Micky is behind everything, but lacks the evidence to prove it, so he makes Rosa an offer. Afterwards, Ben seeks up Micky and tells him that they need to talk and that he will work with him again to recover all of the money. Micky agrees. Ben and the squad will return to Las Vegas for one last huge score before the casino adopts biometric technology, as long as Rosa is on board. The team returns to Planet Hollywood's Las Vegas casino disguised. They make almost $640,000 before security head Williams and a security squad track them down and pursue them. The members of the team hurriedly bag their chips and escape the casino. As it comes time to divide, Micky instructs Ben to give him the chips. Ben hesitates but hands him the sack, and Micky flees. Outside, you see Micky get into a limo and drive away, smiling, towards the airport. As he gleefully digs into the bag of chips, he realizes that the chips are actually hotel chocolates molded like casino chips. This is a reference to an earlier scene in the film in which Choi demonstrates his proclivity for stealing by compulsively swiping a big number of hotel chocolates, fake chips, from an abandoned cleaning cart. Carl emerges behind him and instructs Ben to hand over the bag of chips. Ben expresses shock and fear since he desperately needs the money and has gone through so much to obtain it. He demands the chips and shows Ben his revolver. Ben hands him the chips and walks away with Jill. Micky realizes he was set up by Ben after seeing Carl's main security aide inside the front seat. Micky is taken to the same basement room where Ben was beaten, and he is similarly strapped to the chair and beaten up. We see Ben seated in the same scholarship interviewer's office where he began. Ben telling him about gaining money, having it stolen, being beaten up, and experiences. Ben enters a Harvard Medical School building. When Jill and Ben return to the casino, they meet not only the rest of the team, but also his two best friends. MIT classmates turned out to be pretty good at counting cards too and having a good time at the tables. Thank you for watching. Click the subscribe button and notification bell to watch more videos like this.